The Cal Poly campus is a large place, and over the years it has seen examples of threats from wild animals, escaped convicts, and sexual predators. To help keep its students safe, it is essential that Cal Poly campus remain incredibly well lit at night to increase visibility and safety. Our goal for this project was to create a measure of the light across Cal Poly's campus at night in order to isolate what areas need improvement and what areas are sufficiently lit. To address this problem, this is the device that we created. It is a mobile unit that has a solar panel and a GPS sensor that work together to take light readings over the map of the Cal Poly campus in order to create a light distribution model that will tell us what pathways are appropriately lit and what still need more lighting. The sleek exterior was fashioned from an old card case and helps us look more credible when we're walking around all night taking data with this at arm's length. Looking inside the casing, we can see all of the sensors and wires that are controlling this data collection process. The Arduino board is on the left, which is the microprocessor controlling the entire system, and that's being powered by the 9-volt battery above it. On the right-hand side is our breadboard that contains the GPS sensor in the bottom right and the SD card reader in the top right, which records the data. In between those two devices is the operational amplifier circuit we have, which is importing data from the solar cell and amplifying it into a regime that the Arduino can analyze. Here's a diagram of that circuitry, which makes the wiring more clear, and shows the two additional 9-volt batteries which are mounted to the bottom of the casing, and it's these batteries that drive the operational amplifier to make sure we can get the most out of our solar cell signal from the light data. Because the solar panel is inconsistent with the voltage across which it runs, we are using this operational amplifier, which takes the variable current from the solar panel and converts it into a voltage in the 0 to 5 range that is equal to the input for the Arduino. The majority of this Arduino code is dedicated to retrieving satellite data from the GPS module to record the position and time the data was taken. The beginning of this code sets up the tiny GPS library, which will deal with retrieving the satellite data for the sensor, and it also includes the SD card library, where the data will be written once it's been recorded and reformatted. The void setup loop initiates which pins will be used to read and write data, and sets up the serial port and SD card in order to indicate that everything is being written correctly. The void loop checks if there's any new data from the satellite and refreshes every 5 seconds. If there is new data, it calls the GPS dump loop later on in the code. The purpose of the print float loop is to deal with any rounding errors that might occur, and if those rounding errors get sent back to the satellite, could result in failure of the sensor. The GPS dump loop is what actually calls the data from the GPS sensor and assigns it to variables. Our code then takes these variables and writes them to the SD card along with the current voltage reading from the solar panel, and it is this output that we will export and analyze for our results. With our device working, the next step was to take data. Lots of data. So we walked around campus with our light device held out and measuring the photons as they came down. This Google map displays all of the latitude and longitude coordinates where we took light data, and as you can see it covers a wide swath of the Cal Poly campus, giving us a large area over which to analyze the light levels. Here is a sample of the data collected from our SD card that shows the latitude and longitude coordinates and the corresponding voltage that was read by our solar panel. This voltage was then converted into a watts per meter squared measured, which gives us an actual indication of how strong the light was in real-life units. For comparison, the sun outputs about 1,000 watts per meter squared on the surface of the Earth every second, so we're seeing a much smaller fraction of that in the nighttime light data we were taking. Because we do not have a full two-dimensional sheet of light data with which to create a surface, we are using this fairly elaborate MATLAB code to create triangular faces to connect the points. It then takes this surface and creates a contour map that we are using to help visualize the light levels across the Cal Poly campus. We took that contour map from the MATLAB code and overlaid it of a satellite photo of the Cal Poly campus, and we see an excellent visualization of what areas are better lit than others. In general, the Cal Poly campus is quite well lit, but there are a few spots that could use some improvement to increase the overall safety of the campus as a whole. The southwestern part of campus near the old gym and the graphic communications department have some definite walkways that could use more sufficient lighting, as there are many bushes and other areas that are very poorly lit and difficult to see in general. And this lack of light can be clearly seen on our contour map. We learned many things and had to overcome a number of different obstacles to get this experiment working and get the data analyzed. Getting our GPS sensor to work with the Arduino code required extensive use of the Arduino community and the use of several different codes in order to create a system that would take GPS data from our specific sensor. We also had to try many different solutions in order to get an operational amplifier that would run on only a 5-volt power source, and eventually we had to use 2 additional 9-volt batteries just to power the op-amp system. Looking for ways to improve this project, we think it would be much more effective if our solar system were deployed on a quadcopter that could take an aerial view of campus looking down, rather than us trying to take data with a solar panel pointed upwards. We think this would yield much better readings. Overall, this was a fun project that yielded pretty interesting results.